Okay, hello there. Putin orders FSB to kill. Damn, that was not safe.
The biggest news coming out of Russia is that the FSB was tasked with killing Prigozhin after his attempted coup. Clearly, that task wasn't successful. It seems like Prigozhin has some crazy leverage over Putin and the Kremlin because he was just photographed traveling around Russia.
Really?
All the while, he's supposed to be in exile in Belarus. On top of that, the Wagner mutiny has put even more pressure on the Russian economy, which was already struggling with the high cost of war and international sanctions. Because of the struggling economy, Putin has not been able to properly supply and support his troops in Ukraine. This has led many groups to surrender to Ukraine and just refuse to follow the Kremlin's commands. So in this video, let's go over all of that. But first, be sure to hit that like button below. Your likes play a huge role in helping my videos fight against Russian
Don't forget
trolls,
about me too.
who are quick to dislike and downvote any negative news
We
about
helping
Russia.
spread the news.
This hurts the video's reach.
He did most of the work, so of course hit his channel first. Bro, I can't get any impressions, bro. I am getting no impressions on my channels.
First and foremost,
I don't know how to
the
change
Kyiv
it.
Independent broke the crazy news that the Russian FSB was tasked with killing Prigozhin by the Russian High Command. The intel comes from Ukraine's military intelligence chief. He goes on to add that, in any case, all of such potential assassination attempts will not be fast. It will take them some time to have the proper approaches and to reach the stage when they're ready to conduct a huge operation. But once again, I'd like to underline that it's a big open question. Would they be successful in fulfilling that? Will they dare to execute that order? During the same interview, he goes on to emphasize that Ukraine intelligence doesn't expect that the Wagner PMC will appear in Ukraine as a separate entity that performs its own operations. As I reported earlier, on June 27th, the FSB claimed it had closed the criminal case over Prigozhin's armed insurrection. Clearly, there was a lot more to the story than the Kremlin is letting on to the public. We still don't know the exact reason and details of the deal with Prigozhin and Putin that was brokered by Lukashenko. One thing we do know for sure is that Prigozhin does not give an F about respecting Putin. According to the deal, he's supposed to be exiled to Belarus, but that doesn't seem to be the case. As reported in many trusted Telegram groups, Prigozhin was back in Russia.
Just casually
Here
walking
are some
around.
pictures of him on his way to his helicopter.
Bruh.
According to some sources, Prigozhin has been given until the 1st of July to close all his affairs in Russia and take his property. This was part of the mutiny agreement.
That was 7 days ago.
On the 1st, searches and seizures of assets will begin. Taking advantage of this opportunity, he is preparing, in the near future, to take out all available cash of the Wagner PMC and move it to Africa and Belarus. Earlier, I reported that the FSB seized 4 billion rubles in cash, about $47 million, when they raided Wagner headquarters.
They're gonna be like, that's corruption money. Get them.
In St. Petersburg. This was while Prigozhin was still marching towards Moscow. It seems that after the deal, he has come back to collect his money. Another thing to point out is that Prigozhin believes he's come out on top from the mutiny, despite his forced exile. Prigozhin did not initially set out to overthrow the government. Then he clearly understood that Putin would not remove Shoigu under any circumstances. As a result, it was deemed that the basic goal of the march had been fulfilled. The plan was to keep the leadership of the Wagner PMC and its authority in the eyes of the Board of Commanders for a while, as well as to obtain guarantees of untouchability. His main goal was achieved, and his entourage still considers him to be their leader, the only one in the whole country who was able to bend Putin. And talking about Putin, there's been a surge in Putin's public appearances since the coup attempt.
Really?
He has been working to repair his image as almighty powerful
Of
Tsar
course,
of
that would
Russia.
make sense.
But there's something odd about some of his public appearances. Here, watch it for yourself. This is Putin in Dagestan.
I'm surprised that all these niggas there are lined up to just shake his hands. Bro isn't like us. Never mind. It's mad awkward. I feel like they were paid. I feel like they could be paid. Like nobody, like unless you like a musician or an artist or some shit like that, or like I want to say movie star, like actor, like really famous actors. I don't feel like people get that excited to meet presidents, bro. Like me, I'm not getting excited to meet another human being. No matter how, I don't know how I would react in that situation, of course, but I feel like I would be calm because it's just another person who has fame, right? or is in power. So them acting like this, I feel like it's fake. They have to be getting paid, bro.
Now, compare this Putin to the Putin who
it's a fake. That nigga headstrong as fuck.
gave multiple speeches around the coup attempt. Do they seem like the same person?
The one on the right seems skinnier. Also, his cheekbones more popping. I didn't even catch that.
Not to me. It seems like Putin is increasingly using body doubles. Quick side note on this topic, my team on the second channel actually interviewed the reporter who first broke the news about Putin using body doubles in 2015. After his report, he and his family were constantly harassed and threatened by Putin's trolls and the Wagner group.
Of course.
The harassment got so bad that his wife's sister actually killed herself. It's truly a sad story, but this just pushes Kristaps to work harder in exposing Putin's lies to the world. If you want to listen to the whole podcast, I will link it in the cards and in the description. Coming back to Putin's body double, it makes sense that he's doing more public visits to strengthen his image. Also, him meeting with so many strangers is quite the opposite of his regular behavior, which further supports the theory that he's using body doubles. Infamous for his paranoid stance since the COVID-19 pandemic, anyone outside of Putin's close circle of yes-men have been forced to abide by strict 2-week quarantines in armed state hotels, while Putin has rarely been a leader to physically engage with ordinary Russians.
Yeah.
Bizarre pictures have surfaced of the 71-year-old sitting isolated at a large marble table, feet away from his guests. Recent rumors suggest the dictator resides in underground bunkers, requires visitors to pass through a special tunnel of ultraviolet light, and is so paranoid of assassination attempts that his security detail follows him everywhere.
I mean, it would make sense.
Here's another funny video.
I would make sense, because, like, I always thought, like, why don't the niggas in power who are close to him, who want to end the war, just kill him? That's probably why. He's surrounded by them all the time. Military people, security people, who trust them. And he was, I feel like for you to have that much trust, I feel like you must have been an abandoned kid or something, and then he raised you himself or some shit like that.
Putin drawing art. Drawing art follows him everywhere. Here's another funny video of Putin drawing art.
What is he drawing? A bomb? He's solving a math question. Paper? What is that? Bro, is this to get people on his side? Oh, look, I'm a normal human being. I draw ass just like everybody else, unless you're an artist. The fuck? Weird ass face. Why squiggly? Why squiggly head? And then bro marks it with his signature. Bro, if you don't solve the math question.
All while Putin is trying to strengthen his image, Russia's economy is weakening.
Tanking.
Russia's deepening economic problems have resulted in a collapse of commodities earnings, drastic cuts in federal government spending, and rail freight yards being clogged with thousands of Chinese ship containers that are sitting empty for wants of goods to export. The Moscow Times reports that Russian government statistics are showing a dire economic situation. As of the 27th of May, the Ministry of Finance has spent 48% of the allocated budget, but only had collected 40% of forecast revenues. The deficit stands at 134% of the planned amount. The government has cut its spending for June to 44 billion rubles a day, about $498 million, half of the average for the previous 5 months. Federal tax collections have fallen by 19% compared to the same period in 2022. Russia's only saving grace at the beginning of the war, the oil revenues are also taking a hit. Oil and gas revenues have halved, from 5.658 to 2.853 trillion rubles. That's about $64 billion down to $32.3 billion. Exports to Europe have collapsed, and oil companies are having to gift double-digit discounts to Indian and Chinese buyers. The government's expenses have increased by 26% to 13.23 trillion rubles, of which almost a third, 3.9 trillion rubles, is being spent on secret items of expenditure. Secret military spending is likely to account for as much as 3.1 trillion rubles of this. Russia's economic difficulties are particularly symbolized by the mountains of empty Chinese shipping containers piling up at railways across the country. This is because Russia imports far more from China than it exports. We've begun seeing the effects of these economic problems spill into the war zone already. Russian bloggers are sharing a photo of artillery shells received by a Russian unit. They say these specific shells were made in 1939, making them 84 years old today. I don't even know if these will still work today. They might end up hurting Russian soldiers who are using them instead of Ukrainians, but hey, I guess good news for Ukraine, right? Here's another video of Russian soldiers who have given up following Russian orders because they are not being properly supported. They claim that they didn't receive any ammo, food, or water. All the while, they are risking their lives for their country.
You ain't getting no food. That's tough. But I don't really care, honestly. Good thing you ain't getting food. Keep starving. I'm specifically directing this at their army.
Здесь полковник ФСБ угрожал мобилизованным, которые отказались.
Сейчас мы здесь отдохнули ровно 3 часа после дороги с передка. Где? На передке, где мы были. Нам не поставлялась БК. Нам не поставлялись ни вода, ни продукты питания. Не вывозились 300-е. До сих пор там гниют 300-е.
The dead are still rotting there? Really?
Отдаются ужасные приказы, которые...
Are given which shouldn't really be obeyed. Damn. Looks like they're going through it.
Мы вообще считаем, что нас просто обнуляют.
Wouldn't disease start if the bodies are still there? So for 3 months never been paid. They just came again and said we need to go to the zero line to the meat grinder again. The point of this address is that we'll send to all our relatives for them to share it, I'm guessing. And we refuse to obey orders for a number of aforementioned reasons. We surrendered to military police. Damn, they rather get charged than go out there. We were killed by our own here, not in combat.
Russia's economic situation is getting so bad because of this war that they called a UN Security Council meeting to complain about weapon supplies to Ukraine. I'm not kidding. The same country that decided to launch an invasion against a peaceful neighbor is now complaining to the world to stop helping Ukraine against its invasion.
Bro.
You would expect this from like kindergarten-aged children, but no. This is coming from Russia. Yesterday, I finished the video talking about some poll results from Russia to show how Russians are feeling about this war. Today, let's look at some polls to see how this war is affecting Ukrainians.
Big misinformed.
78% of Ukrainians have relatives or friends who were wounded or died because of the Russian invasion into Ukraine. 64% of Ukrainians have at least one close relative or friend who was wounded. And 63% of Ukrainians have had at least one close relative or friend who died in the full-scale invasion. This is an incredible amount of individual and collective psychological trauma, and a collective grief experience that the whole country is going through. And this just shows how much pain Russia has inflicted on Ukraine. All right, that's it for today, everybody. Please check out the Patreon link below if you'd like to support the videos, and be sure to hit that like button below. Thanks.
Hey, that's tough. They were misinformed, and now they're like, oh, wait, we should have done this. And that's crazy. You attack somebody, and you're like, no. Why are you guys still helping the person getting attacked? What you mean by that? But yeah, like, subscribe, see you guys later. Visit his channel if you want to watch some more. I'm going to keep watching them, but I might be slow with the updates on them, but hey, yeah, bye.